You're standing face to face with someone who seeks to provoke you, to pull you into a confrontation. No escape, no backup, no second chances. The only thing that stands between you and chaos is your mind. Will you let anger and frustration take over, or will you remain calm like a mountain, unshaken, unaffected, in complete control? This isn't just philosophy. This is Stoicism. The Stoics taught us that our true power lies not in controlling the world around us, but in controlling our reactions to it. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. Facing endless challenges, he remained composed, his calmness his greatest weapon in times of conflict. In Stoic philosophy, every confrontation is a chance to practice self-control. So how can you stay calm in any confrontation? The Stoics believe that it's not the situation, but our response to it that determines our peace. Let's dive into how Stoic principles can help you master your emotions and stay unshaken in any challenge. If you're ready to learn how to stay calm under pressure, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video that helps you become the best version of yourself. Number 1. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. One of the most common mistakes people make in confrontations is taking things personally. It's easy to let your ego get involved when someone challenges you, insults you, or tries to provoke you. The natural response is to defend yourself, to react in a way that reaffirms your pride and identity. But when you do this, you've already lost the battle. Why? Because once you allow your ego to become involved, your emotions take over, and you lose your clarity of thought. You become defensive, impulsive, and reactive, which leads to a downward spiral of escalation. This is where Stoic philosophy can truly guide us. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary swordsman who never lost a duel, taught us the profound lesson: think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. But what does that really mean? Musashi's advice is about detaching yourself from the ego, the part of you that seeks to protect its pride, status, or reputation. When we take things personally, we immediately tie our sense of self-worth to the opinions and actions of others. This is a trap. In the heat of a confrontation, we may begin to see the challenge as an attack on who we are, instead of just a momentary event that is out of our control. The Stoics believed that we are only in control of one thing: our reactions. External events, including how others treat us, are beyond our control. What is within our control is how we choose to respond. And the Stoics taught us that we must detach ourselves from the emotional reactions that these external events trigger. Imagine this. Someone insults you. The typical response would be to feel hurt, offended, or angry. You might feel an instinctive urge to retaliate, to defend yourself, or to prove that you're not weak. But Musashi's teaching, alongside the wisdom of Stoicism, would suggest a different approach. Step back and look at the situation objectively. Recognize that the insult is not a reflection of you, but of the person offering it. It's a reflection of their mindset, their intentions, and their personal frustrations, not yours. This mindset shift is incredibly powerful. The more you detach from your own ego and stop taking things personally, the more you gain control over your emotions. You stop seeing every confrontation as a battle to defend your pride, and start seeing it as an opportunity to practice control and clarity. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most famous Stoic philosopher, often reminded himself, in his meditations that the opinions of others are beyond his control. He wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." This means that life's challenges, including conflicts, shouldn't be feared or avoided. Instead, we should face them with an open mind, knowing that our reactions are what matter most. In any situation, if you can manage to stay emotionally neutral, you hold the power. The person who lets their emotions take the reins is always at a disadvantage. But if you can remain calm, composed, and centered, you will always have the upper hand. Think of it like a business negotiation. The moment you let your pride or insecurity influence your reactions, you are vulnerable. You've lost your strategic advantage. The person who remains calm, who doesn't take things personally, can think clearly, read the situation, and ultimately gain a better outcome. If you stop reacting emotionally, you create a space where you are free to think critically and act decisively. The next time someone insults you, challenges you, or tries to provoke you, pause and remind yourself, this isn't about me. This is about how I choose to respond. By taking a step back and thinking lightly of yourself, by detaching from your ego, you keep your peace and maintain control. And in any confrontation, it's that control that will determine whether you succeed or fail. The Stoics knew that nothing can shake us unless we allow it to. If you can detach from your ego and view each confrontation as an opportunity to practice self-control, you will become unshakable no matter the circumstances. The person who stays calm and refuses to take things personally is the person who wins every time. Number 2. Fixation is the way to defeat. In any confrontation, the moment you become fixated on a single outcome, proving you're right, winning at all costs, or getting the last word, you set yourself up for failure. Why? Because fixation narrows your mind. It blinds you to nuance, cuts off your ability to adapt, and makes you predictable. And in any kind of conflict, be it verbal, emotional, or physical, predictability is weakness. Miyamoto Musashi, undefeated in over 60 duels, understood this better than anyone. He wrote, "Fixation is the way to defeat. Fluidity is the way to victory." This wasn't just about swordsmanship. It was a principle for life. Think about the last time you argued with someone. You probably had a point you desperately wanted to make. You wanted them to see you, understand you, admit you were right. But they didn't. Instead, things escalated. Why? Because your emotional investment gave them control. The more rigid you became, the more they could push your buttons. You weren't thinking strategically. You were reacting emotionally. This is where Stoicism and Musashi's teachings intersect. Both stress the importance of flexibility, of detachment, of not being so committed to winning a specific way that you forget the real goal: peace, clarity, control. Musashi was never attached to one method of victory. Sometimes he fought with 2 swords, sometimes just one. Sometimes he used a wooden stick. Sometimes he showed up late just to throw his opponent off balance. He kept them guessing. That unpredictability gave him power, and it can give you power, too. The Stoics would call this apatheia, a state of being undisturbed, emotionally neutral, and fully present. You don't let desire or fear dictate your actions. You adapt based on reality, not attachment. Let's say someone tries to provoke you at work, in a relationship, online. They want you to get angry. They expect you to defend yourself, to react, to argue. But what happens if you don't? What happens if you do the unexpected? What if you respond with silence or with a calm smile, or by agreeing in a way that disarms them. You might be right. Now they're off balance, they don't know what to do. Why? Because you broke the pattern. You didn't play the game by their rules. This is what real power looks like. Not dominating through brute force, but by staying fluid, adapting, refusing to be controlled. In a fight, the one who can adapt wins. In a debate, the one who stays calm wins. In life, the one who isn't rigid becomes unstoppable. So remember this: the goal is not to win every confrontation. The goal is to remain free. Free from the need to prove, to react, to dominate. Let go of fixation. Embrace flexibility. In that space, you'll find not only clarity, but victory on your own terms. Number 3, there is more than one path to the top of the mountain. In moments of confrontation, most people make a fatal mistake. They lock themselves into a single strategy. They think there's only one way to win: overpower the other person, prove them wrong, assert dominance. And when that path starts to crumble, so do they. They panic, they push harder, they react emotionally. Why? Because they've become obsessed with one outcome, one method, one illusion of control. Miyamoto Musashi, undefeated in over 60 duels, wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." And on the surface, that may sound like simple flexibility, but this idea touches something far deeper. It's a direct challenge to the ego. The ego wants things to go a certain way. It wants victory, recognition, validation, and when it doesn't get it, it lashes out, it clings, it breaks. But both Musashi and the Stoics understood something timeless: that true power lies not in control over others, but in control over yourself. When you believe there's only one way to win an argument, one way to earn respect, or one way to prove your worth, you've already lost your freedom. You've handed over your peace to the outcome. You've become reactive, rigid, and blind. The Stoic Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters." In other words, your strength isn't in the situation. It's in your adaptability, your composure, your clarity of thought. Musashi never fought with brute force alone. Sometimes he used 2 swords. Sometimes he used a stick. Sometimes he arrived late to unnerve his opponent. But always he fought with presence and precision. He stayed fluid, because fluidity is freedom. Think about your own life. Think of the last time someone challenged you, insulted you, or tried to provoke a reaction. Did you react instantly? Did you feel cornered into defending yourself? That pressure you felt, it wasn't from them. It was from your own mind narrowing in on one path, one story. That "I must win this now" mentality is a mental trap. It turns every conflict into a war, every disagreement into a battlefield. But what if you stepped back? What if you paused and asked yourself, what outcome really matters here? Is it my ego, or is it my peace? Do I want to win, or do I want to stay free from being controlled by emotions? Because sometimes the most powerful move is silence. Sometimes walking away is strength, not weakness. Sometimes agreeing with someone, not because they're right, but because you choose not to engage, is the ultimate power play. When you see that there are many ways to reach resolution, many ways to stay calm, and many ways to win, you become unpredictable. You become unreadable. You become immune to manipulation. You're no longer dancing to the rhythm of other people's expectations. You're setting your own tempo. You're playing your own game. The Stoics called this inner freedom, the ability to navigate life without being thrown off course by every obstacle, every offense, every insult. That is real power. Because anyone can raise their voice, anyone can argue. But it takes deep strength to stay calm when provoked, to remain flexible when cornered, and to recognize that every situation has more than one solution, and most of them don't require you to lose your peace. So remember this: the mountain doesn't care how you climb it. There isn't one perfect path. There are many. Some are slow and silent. Some are steep and challenging. Some require you to retreat before advancing. But as long as you keep your principles, your clarity, and your self-control, you're still rising, still climbing. And in a world where everyone is trying to win by force, the person who chooses calm strategy over emotional reaction has already reached the top. Number 4, from one thing, know 1,000 things. Imagine walking into a confrontation not with fear or tension, but with quiet certainty. Not because you're stronger, not because you have the upper hand, but because you've seen this pattern before. Maybe not in the exact form, but in essence. You understand the rhythm, the psychology, the human behavior playing out before you. That's the power Musashi was pointing to when he wrote, "From one thing, know 10,000 things." At first, it sounds poetic, but what he's really talking about is mastery through pattern recognition. If you deeply understand one thing, truly understand it, from its core principles to its real-world application, you begin to see echoes of that truth everywhere. This is not just a tactic for warriors. It's a mindset for life. Musashi didn't just study swordsmanship. He studied psychology, strategy, philosophy, nature, even the behavior of animals. He saw how fear moves, how insecurity reveals itself, how pressure cracks the untrained. And once he saw these patterns, he could anticipate them before they even surfaced. That's why he never lost. He wasn't just reacting to opponents. He was reading them, predicting them, dismantling them. Without panic, the Stoics held a similar belief. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe continually all things coming to pass by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them." In other words, learn the nature of things, and you'll never be surprised. Learn how people behave under fear, ego, greed, or shame, and confrontations stop becoming unpredictable storms. They become familiar scripts, and once you've read the script, you're no longer a prisoner to it. This mindset gives you calm. When someone lies to you, you don't flinch. You recognize the motive. When someone tries to manipulate you, you don't get defensive. You spot the pattern. When someone lashes out in anger, you don't absorb it. You understand the pain behind it. You no longer take things personally because you're not reacting from emotion. You're operating from understanding. Let's take this deeper. Think of human behavior as a map. The more patterns you recognize, in language, in tone, in posture, in logic, the more detailed your map becomes. And the more detailed your map, the easier it becomes to navigate conflict. It doesn't mean you'll never feel emotion, but it does mean you won't be ruled by it. Musashi trained to see reality without distortion. He stripped away illusion until only truth remained. He believed if you could understand the nature of one thing, like conflict, you could apply that understanding to everything. Business negotiations, romantic disputes, social manipulation, inner turmoil. Everything becomes interconnected when you're trained to see the essence beneath the surface. The Stoics didn't advocate cold detachment. They advocated clarity. They believed that emotions are natural, but reactions are a choice. And the best way to control your reactions is to train your perception. If you've already seen how people operate, if you've studied the nature of fear, pride, anger, and control, then you're never truly caught off guard. You're not reacting, you're responding. With calm, with awareness, and with power. So train yourself to see deeper. Don't just listen to what people say, listen to what they don't say. Observe their motives, track the rhythm of their behavior. And over time, you'll find yourself staying calm, even in chaos. Because you've seen this before in another form, under another name. But the same truth remains. From one thing, know 10,000 things. This is not a trick. It's a way of seeing. And once your eyes are open, you'll never see conflict the same way again. Number 5. You can only fight the way you train. In the heat of a confrontation, when your heart races and your mind begins to spiral, it's not logic that saves you. It's training. Not what you hope you'll do, but what your body and mind have been conditioned to do. This is why Miyamoto Musashi warned, you can only fight the way you train. In other words, when stress hits, you fall to the level of your preparation, not your expectations. Too many people believe they'll rise to the occasion when it counts. They think that in a crisis, some hidden inner strength will awaken and carry them through. But that's a fantasy. The Stoics called it preparation of the mind, the daily practice of training yourself to remain rational and grounded in the face of chaos. Musashi called it discipline. The truth is, your behavior in high-pressure situations is never random. It's a reflection of the habits you've built when things were calm. If you haven't practiced staying calm when someone interrupts you, how will you stay calm when someone insults you publicly? If you haven't trained yourself to breathe and pause when things go wrong, how will you respond when everything falls apart at once? And if you let your emotions run unchecked every day, why would they obey you when the stakes are highest? Musashi didn't become undefeated by accident. He trained obsessively, not just with the sword, but with the mind. He believed that real combat began long before the duel. It began in the small daily decisions to observe, to stay centered, to push through discomfort. His life was a laboratory for discipline. And when the moment came to fight, there was no panic. Just execution. This principle is echoed deeply in Stoic thought. Seneca wrote, "The only thing that matters is that you possess a firm and stable mind, and the only way to build such a mind is through repetition, daily mental conditioning. That's what separates those who fall apart from those who remain composed. Preparation. Every argument you face, every conflict you encounter, is an opportunity to train. Not to react, but to respond. To observe yourself in the moment, to strengthen your emotional endurance, and to build the kind of inner calm that cannot be shaken by insults, pressure, or intimidation. If someone tries to provoke you, that's your cue to practice stillness. If a situation begins to spiral, that's your moment to breathe and focus. If you feel the urge to lash out, that's your training ground to stay composed. Because every reaction you master becomes part of your preparation for the next test. Musashi understood that battle wasn't just about strength or speed. It was about readiness. And readiness comes from training. Consistent, intentional, daily training. In how you think, in how you see the world, and most importantly, in how you respond under pressure. So ask yourself, Are you preparing for chaos or just hoping to survive it? Because when the moment comes, you won't have time to think. You'll act exactly how you've trained. And if you've trained to stay calm, to stay grounded, and to stay in control, you've already won. The world will never stop testing you. People will insult you. Plans will fall apart. Pressure will rise. But in every moment, you have a choice. You can react, or you can respond. You can let emotions take control, or you can master them. You can crumble, or you can remain calm, like the Stoics did, like Musashi did, unshaken, focused, and free. Because in a world full of noise, chaos, and conflict, the calm mind is the rarest weapon. The person who can walk through fire without flinching wins, not by overpowering others, but by mastering themselves. So the next time you're challenged, insulted, or pulled into conflict, don't take the bait. Don't fall into the trap of proving yourself. Instead, take a breath. See the bigger picture. And remember, every confrontation is a chance to train your inner peace. If you found value in this video, take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps more people find the Stoic path, and it helps us keep creating content that sharpens the mind and strengthens the soul. Thank you for watching. Stay calm, stay sharp, and stay stoic.